flying.
What's up, everybody? Activ8. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Activ8 Radio. We are here to activate your mind while we entertain and educate. And today is Monday, so you better wake your ass up, Fosco.
Wake your ass up.
So, hey, you know what? I had a couple people say that the podcast was a little low on volume, so I just turned up the volume, John.
It's been turned up. TURNTUP.
I'm glad you spelled that out for me, John, because I wasn't aware of. And this episode is brought to you by Reebok, as always.
Hashtag be more human.
Be more human. And we're going to catch up with John. He was in L.A. pretty much all week. So, John, give us a recap of L.A. living, brother. California love.
Part of the reason I'm drinking beer right now is because I was in L.A. this week. But we're gonna talk about the entirety of the trip, not just parts of it.
Yes.
LA's a great city, great people. Spent some great time at GFC, where our good friend Coach Edmund owns that. That's Travis and Rhonda's coach. Just some high-level training going on there. Travis has implemented a diet that Cory recommended for him. I don't want to say combat sports specific, but Cory knows, and it's been helping Travis a lot. And Travis, needless to say, looks, for all you fans out there, looks definitely ready to perform at UFC 200. And then obviously I was out there doing some business for UFC 199. Met with some clients of Activ8, and me and Cory do what we like to call the divide and conquer. Cory took on some serious meetings, specifically today, that we'll get into later in the show, while I was out running another client and handling other business. So it was a good trip. It was not a perfect trip, but that's what I have a beer for. Drowning the sorrows, baby. Drown the sorrows. But yeah, man. LA was good. It's good to see all my peoples. It was good to see our boy Clay. It was good to see Trav. It was good to see Edmund. It was good to see Ron. It was good to see all those people. So yeah, it was solid.
And so you came back to the Midwest, and now I'm jumping on a plane and heading right back out there for a Reebok summit today.
In the desert.
Yeah, Palm Desert. So I'm excited. So you're coming back east, I'm going back west. So we are dividing and conquer for sure.
Right. Like every great army in history.
Yes. So one major thing that happened at 199 is Mike Bisping went in. And so, John, you were there on the floor. Share about, one, the odds of Mike winning, and two, what it means for the UK to have their first champion. And I'm just ecstatic because I like Mike Bisping. So tell me about that.
First off, that win, I would say, is as significant from an upset standpoint as George St. Pierre losing his title to Matt Serra back in 07, I believe it was, or 06. Luke opened up at minus 1,100, meaning he was an 11-1 favorite. If you would ask me, Bisping had no chance in hell, because not only did they fight previously, but Bisping's style and Luke's style just don't mesh from Mike's standpoint. And Luke has a hell of a chin. And what happens a lot in combat sports, I think it happens a lot in life, is people, when they get comfortable, they drop their guard. Now, we're not aware of how often we use fighting metaphors, but if you think about what I just said, that is a fighting metaphor. And that's exactly what Luke did. I cannot take these words from his mouth because he didn't say them to me, but I can guarantee you that when Chris Weidman dropped out and they said Bisping is your opponent, he was like, all right, easy win. So he metaphorically dropped his guard, and Mike Bisping capitalized, and he knocked him out. And honestly, I think in my lifetime, that's the biggest upset I've ever seen in MMA.
Wow. And I'll tell you what, But here's what's interesting, and because Mike went through that major adversity with that eye. Remember, he had that really bad eye surgery or injury where he wasn't sure whether he's going to be able to fight again. I was in California training with him previous to that. I had talked to him multiple times after that. He was really worried about that.
Oh.
I mean, because he thought, even though he's good on camera, he does the Fox stuff, and he's done some acting in the UK. And I was digging up some old pictures today so I could post a picture of him and I to kind of congratulate him. And, dude, I'm looking at pictures of us in the bar arm wrestling in the UK. He's just a cool dude. He's a good family guy. He's had some adversity. And you know what? He did the epitome. It was the epitome of seizing the day.
Yes.
What was he on? 2 weeks notice. No one gave him a shot. John, you even said yourself you'd have put $1 million on him, on Luke, if you was a betting man like that. And so I did not watch the fight. I was asleep, but when I woke up, I couldn't have been happier. It was neat.
You know what? You have to be happy for a guy like that. Just work, got him to where he is. And the one thing I'll say is that's why I think we all love MMA. Not only did Mike win, okay, but Hector Lombard lost to 900-year-old Dan Henderson. He was like a 5-1 favorite. There was Cory, did you see Jessica Andrade, the Brazilian female fighter on FS1?
Well, yeah, I actually did see her. Yeah,
I mean,
she's a
are
badass.
you kidding me?
She's badass.
Are you, dude? She would make me and you, like, if we both tried to take her on at once. One of us would wake up on Tuesday, the other would wake up on Wednesday.
Yeah,
she's nasty.
She was nasty. No, actually FS1 was strong.
Yeah,
there was a couple of really good fights on there.
Yeah,
I didn't even know. This shows how far out. I didn't see that Dan Henderson was even on the card. That, first of all, is hilarious, and the fact that he won.
Hector Lombard?
Dude.
Hector Lombard's serious.
How old is Henderson? For real? Like, he's like
Henderson,
40.
I think, is 523.
He's got to be.
He's like 42? No. I don't know.
Older?
Maybe 44?
What? How'd he look physically, John? Is he still jacked up?
He looked a little decrepit. Yeah. And Hector Lombard is like,
jacked,
the opposite.
Right?
Yeah.
Jeez. Well, that, overall, for one, with so much build up to 200, though, I feel
Dude, let's talk about the announcements. Did you hear the announcement about 200?
I think I understand it, but you tell me, because I saw some people tweet it to me earlier. Go ahead.
Brock Lesnar's going to be on UFC 200, dude.
Yeah, against who?
We don't know his opponent. I got excited when I heard it because I thought Kane got injured and we were going to get a – I mean, not that we don't want to fight Kane, but if you can get a fight against Brock Lesnar, it's like getting a fight against Conor in terms of the whole world is watching. But they're going to announce his opponent, I think they said tomorrow. But I'm going to be perfectly honest. I got 2 phone calls earlier this week from MMA reporters asking me about a failed drug test. And I said, hey, we're clear from our side. So I'm not saying at all or starting a rumor that the other side, failed a drug test. But let me tell you something. Brock Lesnar coming into UFC 200 on the main card, and he's a heavyweight. If there was an issue with Kane, bringing Brock in to face Travis would make sense.
John, is there a high probability that's what's happening?
I'd say there's a low probability. I put it at 20%. But I did get 2 phone calls asking me about, I heard there was a failed test. And, normally that's public information pretty quickly. So it could be complete BS.
Interesting.
Actually, I want to take one moment to bring up something that I didn't share with you, Cory, that was completely out of line.
Okay.
So as you all know, or maybe you don't know because not many people know his name, Matt Mitrione is a fighter who fought Travis Brown last, and Travis destroyed.
Very many people know his name.
And made his eye. His legacy will be that he got destroyed by Travis Brown. His clavicle came out of his head, and his eye exploded. So he challenged that victory with the Massachusetts State Athletic Commission. And we got notified about an hour and a half before the hearing, okay? This was Thursday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific. We're on the West Coast. An hour and a half before it, so at 6:30 a.m. This is the fourth hearing that Matt Mitrione canceled. So we get on the call with the Massachusetts State Athletic Director, a bunch of lawyers, and you just hear this. Could I say something? It's Matt Mitrione. He says, I got a lot going on. I got a fight on the 24th of June, and my counsel can't make the phone call. They're in the hospital. They have health problems. And I said, please let me speak for a moment. I said, this is the fourth hearing that Matt Mitrione has called and canceled. So we're not going to allow this. So what can we do today so Travis doesn't have to deal with this? So long story short, we said, well, Travis has a fight too, Matt. Matt, you're not the only guy with the fight, right?
Yeah.
So we basically concluded, okay, June 7th, which is obviously coming up in 2 days, a day, that will be the final hearing. Matt will have to make do with whatever. But then Matt puts out an article and says, Travis Brown, I don't remember the exact, it's on MMA Fighting, and Doyle is his name, Familia. Doyle, Dan Doyle, ran this shit article, this TMZ article about Matt Mitrione calls Travis Brown an arrogant asshole. There's no fact in it. It's just Matt Mitrione calling Travis names for calling Matt out on not being responsible. So Doyle or whatever it is in MMA Fighting, let them know that they're a bunch of punks, and let them know that they're TMZ of the UFC. And Ariel Helwani, Ariel, I tried to reach out to you, man. We talked a little bit, but, you shouldn't be publishing that crap. You shouldn't be publishing that crap because it's crap. What are you reporting on? That someone said bad words about someone? Well, I can say bad words. Oh, you can run an article? I'm not Matt. Come on, man. Have a higher standard.
Yeah, it's shitty. All right. Well, interesting. But overall, sounds like obviously we didn't like the result of Clay. He looked good all the way till the end, but he'll rebound. Travis sounds like he's looking good coming up to 200. Find out tomorrow whether he fights Brock Lesnar potentially, which is interesting. Wow, that would be awesome. And let's talk briefly about the Cavs Warriors. I don't know, you were on a plane, Johnny, so I don't know how much you didn't really get to see much of the game.
No, I did not.
So here's interesting is so I went and saw Eric Thomas on Sunday, and that's something we were talking about is,
yes.
We're looking forward to working with Eric potentially. And he said some really interesting things, even though he was in Cleveland. And Draymond went to Michigan State, so he's a Michigan State guy, right? And he said what's interesting is about the difference between Jordan and LeBron, and he had a really good take on it, was Phil Jackson ran the team. He ran the team there. He ran the team in LA. He put you in a system. You might be the star of the system, but you are not the coach.
Right.
And Phil made that extremely clear, and none of those guys won championships without him. Not Kobe, not freaking Shaq, not Jordan.
Right.
And he said the difference is that it's the same thing because Steve Kerr understands the system. And he put it in there, and when Stephen and Clay are cold, the other dudes are in the system. They're showing up, and LeBron's standing there with the ball, and he's going. And he also said he likes the fact that Draymond is saying he's putting the pressure on himself, saying, "Look, I'm not going to go out like this. We're not going down, 1-1. We're not doing this right." He's like, nobody's backing up LeBron. He's just saying there's just no balls behind LeBron. He's like, I don't argue LeBron's the man, but there's no system. He's the coach. He was going on, and he had a lot of great points, dude.
Well, there's no system. Without a doubt, I believe that is a great point he makes, and obviously I dealt with Phil through my years of being a Bulls fan. But beyond a system, LeBron doesn't want it like even Draymond wants it. Like Westbrook.
Draymond wants it, dude.
Right.
Sure.
I mean, like Michael wants. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. Yes, a system is key. Yes, Tyrone Lue is ran by LeBron. You can argue the organization is run by LeBron, but he does not have a killer instinct, and that's why I believe they will lose, and they will probably lose very quickly.
It's not looking real good. That's for sure. Not at all. Not at all. But I'll tell you what. So let me speak about ET real quick. So I was at the VIP session. I met with Eric Thomas for a few minutes before and got a real feel for what I believe is one of the top, probably 5 motivational speakers in the world potentially right now. And what was awesome is I've watched all his videos. John's seen his videos in person. You could almost feel it like in the crowd. I was in a small venue, like 100 people, and then he had a bigger session, the general session. I was in the VIP session, and what was cool is he referred to some of the things that I had done multiple times during the speech, had me get up and talk a little bit, and it was really unique. But what I loved about Eric is, man, the slideshow was like 3 slides deep. Every slide was only like 1 point, but there was 8 stories and all of them tied back, and a lot of it just came down to just sheer work, will, and that you want it, and that we're willing to do what the next guy's not to. And some guy says to him, you know what, man, I'm just trying to stay motivated, and it's during the Q&A, and I just had a daughter that's just born. She's 8 weeks old. He said, oh, hold on, there it is. He said, look, this might sound weird, but does she have a favorite onesie or a couple things that she wears that you really like? You like when she wears it? The guy's like, yeah. He's like, put it on your desk, man. When you're about to get tired, look at that. That's what it is. He said, look, legacy. I didn't even, my legacy was my grandpa quit high school. My dad quit high school. I quit high school. But then you know what? I got my GED. Then I got my bachelor's. Now I got my doctorate. My kid's going to go to college. That's how he's like, but if you just keep that trend, he's like, so you got to look at that and say, how do I change that generation? So he was on that whole generation tip, which I always talk about. And so it was cool to hear, like, there's people in that room, they're already mildly successful. They're already doing good. They're still fighting this like day-to-day stuff, which is what we're going over on the podcast, what we do on the Activ8 dailies. And I just think there's such a need for like just getting people over that edge, John. And so whether he's yelling in your face, like, blah, 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 craziness, you know what I mean? Which is cool. But there's just so many people out there listening right now, John, that are right there.
You're exactly right. And people can write books and they can slice and dice success into many different areas. But at the end of the day, it's about what I like to call the free things. It's about what you call what people aren't willing to do. It's about, I can work 20 hours a day. You and all of my peers aren't going to do that. I can. They can, but they ain't going to do it. Yep. So I will do it, and I will beat them. You have to look at work like a sport. And the greats of sport are known for showing up first and leaving last. Shooting free throws in the rain and with the lightning and the thunder. You got to do what the other people won't do. And all those things, the beauty of them is you don't need to write a check to do that. You just need to say, all right, motherfucker, I'm going to beat everybody. And if you try to get in my way, I'm going to respectfully run you over. And that's business.
Yeah, that's it. And that's what it comes down to. He's like, at the end of the day, it just comes down to, do you want it more than the next guy? I mean, and when the pressure's on, can you deliver? But I think all that work allows you to deliver when the pressure's on. That's it. Right. All that work leading up to, if you get that opportunity and you're not ready for that pressure, you're going to pee down your leg. But all those work hours are what allows you to be there. And so it was just cool to see somebody else break it down, somebody I've kind of looked to online, in person. It's just like going to a sporting event when you finally get to see the event in person. It's cool. And hopefully we'll be working with them down the road, Johnny, which I believe we will. So it'd be cool. Next, you got your telephone close by, John?
I got my telephone. I haven't heard it called that in a while.
Yeah, we do that in Ohio, John. So it's time for. You know what? Hold on to the telephone, John. We never did the hot seat. We never did the hot seat. So
light it up, boy.
It's hot seat time, and in the hot seat, we do 3 random questions each to try to learn more about each other, and also so the viewers and listeners at home can learn more about myself and John Fosco. And I believe you're on the hot seat first this time, huh, John?
Bring it, brother. Let's go.
So, most people nowadays are wearing either earbuds or big headphones. Most of them are Beats. Sometimes there are other. Which one do you prefer, John? Do you go DJ or do you go earbuds?
I'm not a DJ. I never will be, and I have no interest in being one.
Okay.
I think people who work out with enormous Beats headphones, I mean, I'm not going to judge them, but I would say, like, all that sweat, right?
Yeah.
That's getting all over your ears with those $400 Beats studio mixer headphones. It's like, dude, how do you do it? I love buds because, number one, like, you don't need to adjust them. Once they go in your ear, man, they're in, So I'm a bud guy through and through. And what's crazy is, I'm gonna tell everybody this. Skull Candy's top end bud, I want to say, is like $50 or $60, and it's up there with the Beats bud that's like $200. So I would check it out. That's what I'm wearing now, and these things, dude, they thump. They like thump when I'm working out. So yeah, bud.
Skull Candy is a unique brand. They got sneaky big at the same time as Beats and did a really good job on people that wanted a Beats but didn't want to spend all the money. I feel like they went right to Skull Candy.
Well, and they went X Games skater kit guys.
Yes.
So they really went that direction, and it's amazing how big of a market. Like, it seems like a niche, right? Like skater, X. Dude, that market is huge, and it's probably because California is like the 13th biggest economy in the world standalone, and there's surfers and skaters everywhere. But yeah, you're right. They did pop at the same time. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Next question, John Fosco. What is your favorite candy bar?
Well, I got my Auntie Ann looking down on me. She worked for Mars, M&M Mars, for 34 years. She was the head of quality control. She was a woman who taught me that women can be bosses, and she was a boss. She was not married. She worked 20 hours. I remember her missing birthdays, but always coming around and making it right. And I mean, she embodied that. So if I said anything but an M&M Mars product, man, a lightning bolt would hit me in the face. Okay? So, Auntie Ann, I know you can hear me. Snickers bar, baby. That's all I can say. I don't want a lightning bolt to the head.
Can't go wrong with that. That's for sure.
Ah, man.
So, last question, John. Last question. If you had to pick to be in the baseball or football Hall of Fame, which one would you pick?
Oh, football. I mean, baseball is boring. It's
true.
It's boring. I mean, the guys make a lot of money, a lot more money than football players. But football is a fun sport. I love playing it, and if you're a Hall of Famer, that means you're pretty good at it. And I'd be inducted in your backyard, Canton, Ohio, which I have been to.
Yeah. Also, what a lot of people don't know, and I don't know if this is baseball and basketball also, but they make $500K a year till they die. Did you know that?
Who does?
The Hall of Famers in the NFL.
Oh, the NFL actually gets off their cheap ass and pays someone?
Pays them. Yeah, it's like, so when them dudes, like, because I go to the enshrinement every year, and there's always like 2 or 3 young dudes, and like one dude, it's like 80. He just hit the lottery because he didn't make that his whole career.
Right.
So it's some dude that played for, Vince Lombardi. He was a lineman. Dude, he just got popped 500. And so a lot of people don't know that. They kind of like, you have to do some research, but it's a true statement. Maurice told me about it. And those guys, like a guy like Chris Carter that goes in at 40-something, got a salary the rest of his life. It's unbelievable.
Nice.
So, all right, your turn, John.
All right, buddy. Number 1. What's the most publicly embarrassing business lesson that you had to learn, like in front of people?
I would say the first time I public spoke was at a MLM type of thing, gathering, I would say, because it wasn't really a lot of people. It was probably 12 people. Sometimes that's worse because you can make
marketing.
Yeah, multi-level marketing. Sometimes that's worse because you can make eye contact with everybody.
Yeah.
And I knew 80% of the room. I think that was the other problem. It's different if you don't know nobody. And so I really believe and it's the only time this has happened to me. I kind of froze up because I don't think, you know me, I'm kind of ad-lib type of guy because usually we're talking about stuff we know about or it's us, right? Where in that, I was so early in that specific business, I didn't know it like I know fitness or these life experiences. And so I was not only unauthentic, I was freezing up, I was sweating, the people in the room I was new. It was really bad. And I didn't act like myself. And that was a lesson learned. So when I was done, this guy named Mike Healy, which I learned a bunch from, he was a really good networker. He said, you know what, geez, like, you really were kind of trying to act like me, like trying to format. He's like, dude, you got to just act. You just got to act like yourself and study up on the material a little bit more, and you'll be fine. And I was after that, but yeah, I froze up pretty hard, and I was pretty embarrassed. And I pretty much thought to myself, well, man, I need to get a lot better at this. It's funny how I progressed from literally that exact day to 6 months later. I spoke in front of 2,200. And then a month after that, I spoke in front of 6,000. I went literally from freezing up in front of 12 people. And then one calendar year, I was speaking in front of my best was 6,000 people that was being translated in 7 languages.
Because you're being yourself, right? You're being authentic.
Correct. Yeah.
Very nice.
Absolutely.
Very nice. You got married young. What age did you get married at? This is number 2.
25-ish.
Okay, 25. So it's not that young.
Yeah.
How many serious girlfriends did you have in your life before marriage?
I had no serious girlfriends when I was in Columbus. Rachel was pretty much the only one. Prior to that, maybe 2.
Really?
2 or 3.
In your whole life?
Yeah, that were I like dated for like over 6 months.
Okay. 6
months
that
I thought.
Is the barrier.
Yeah, I mean, I had some girls I chased off and on for a long time, but I mean, those relationships were so immature because it's high school.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, it's high school, you know what I mean? So I never really I had 1 or 2 that I was real serious about, but I wasn't trying to marry nobody. And I met Rachel at 20, so like I wasn't trying to marry her at that time either. That's why we dated for 5 years before I ever proposed.
Right.
So
I'm going to hit you with a random one. You ready?
Okay, yep, good.
This is random because I do this. I believe all men enjoy walking into Best Buy. I think there's just a lot of things there.
I would agree.
That we enjoy.
Okay.
If you walk into a Best Buy and you can only go into one section, what section is that and why?
So I'll tell you the section that I always end up in, even though I have no business there anymore. It's just because I grew up in the late 90s. Dude, where the 12s are.
Really?
Dude, it's like I'm drawn to it even though I'm not going to buy them.
That's hilarious, dude.
Because I had a Dodge Omni with no back seat that just thumped, right? So it's like I go to that section. And look at the Rockford Fosgate 12s. Look at a speaker system I'm never going to sorry, lost you. Look at a speaker system I'm never going to buy.
Oh, that's so good.
And then I go to the TVs, but I literally go over and look at the 12-inch punches that I'll never have in my car.
That made the whole show.
I figured you'd like that.
Yeah. That's a great way to wrap up the hot seat.
Absolutely. All right, Johnny, time for your inbox. What do you got, buddy? You've got mail. You've got mail.
You've got mail. Okay. Okay. We just have to pick the right one.
Yeah, no worries, man. Let's see what the Let's see, we got an ending score here.
Okay. Okay. This one's serious, guys. So, all right. Take out the Kleenex.
Okay.
This is a serious one. I'm not going to. I don't want to go word for word on this. Okay. So, this gentleman, he's reached out to me about 4 times. Mid-30s, married, 2 kids, and when we started our podcast, he listened to the podcast, and the first person he shared the podcast with was his brother. And I guess his brother lived like 80 miles away from him. They lived in the Arizona area. And I guess him and his brother would talk about the podcast, which is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, real cool.
And I guess 2 weeks ago, his brother died. He overdosed.
Wow.
From Percocet. And there's not that much that we can say, but what he said is that he appreciates the fact that he was able to have a reason to talk to his brother. He knew his brother was struggling. He didn't quite understand what it was at that time, but he said our show was a reason for him to talk to his brother. His brother would take his call. His brother wouldn't think that he was going to get judged, and they had a little bit of bonding going on about the Activ8 show, which brings a smile to my face.
Sure.
But he just it's tough, man. He just asked us to just continue to keep doing what we're doing, and we're sorry for your loss.
It's a loss, man.
And guys, it's just like, this stuff's real, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more of those messages. And I'll tell you what, being in this seat right now talking is not easy, but it. We have to stick to what we know, and what I encourage you guys to do, because we don't have all the answers, is try to add to our pillars of breaking this fucking disgusting tidal wave of death that's going on in this country. The one thing I'll say is I was getting an Uber ride this weekend by a 24-year-old who had just 23-year-old just graduated college, and I asked him. I said, "What's prescription drug use like on campuses?" And before I could finish my sentence, I swear to God, this kid started laughing. He's like, "What's it like?" He's like, "What's it not like? Who's not on it?" And I stopped him. I said, "Are you on it?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, I take Adderall." I said, "Do you take painkillers?" He said, "Only when I party."
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to sit there and preach to him, but what I was going to do was I was going to briefly share, which I did. I shared my story with him because we had about a 30-minute drive, and I just said, "Listen, man, you make your own choices, but these things are killers, and these things are heroin," which he was not aware of the fact that he was taking synthesized heroin. So, guys, none of this stuff's a joke. One of the familia just lost a brother, and the sad part is there's going to be a lot more. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to disallow any kind of narcotic painkiller for any dental procedure. Nobody has the permission to take a narcotic painkiller or an opioid if they have a dental procedure. Hashtag time to get tough. Nobody. Number 2, in life, we respect people's boundaries. We don't go into them. We give people their space. But with something that's so dangerous and will take the life of a family member so quick, we must cross boundaries. And what we do is we must confiscate any opioids that we see, whether it be from a mother or a brother or a sister, a cousin, a friend, and we must have a conversation with that individual. We must have a conversation with that individual's physician, and we must work on a plan to wean them off it. Those are the two things we can do right now. And like I said, I know there's many more, but that's what we know we can do right now to curb this thing a little bit. Okay? So we love all you guys. We're sorry for your loss. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. Hopefully, there's other brothers talking to each other, and thank you for sharing that. And sorry for your loss.
Yeah. You want to go over the pillars, Johnny, and then we'll move on?
I hit him.
Oh, you hit him. Okay. Sorry. Where the hell was I? My bad. Dude. All right. Fitness tip.
Yeah.
And so today we're going to actually kind of segue from what Johnny just talked about and I'm going to talk a little bit about drinking. So drinking is a huge topic in fitness all the time. People are always asking me, well, when do I drink? How do I get it? How can I drink on that day, on that plan? Or when don't you ever drink, Cory? All those questions, right? And so I always explain that, one, when you drink alcohol, it takes a few days for your body to recover, and obviously it dehydrates you, it messes you up, and so it can hinder performance, it can lead to muscle tears, it can do whatever. When your body's not hydrated properly, it doesn't function right. So I always tell people, like, don't drink beer on Tuesday for no reason. Don't just come home and crack a beer just John. Because. Well, yeah, you got a reason, John.
Yeah, I do.
But, you know, a lot of people were asking me, and I'm like, look, plan it out to where it's like, okay, you know what, on Friday, I'm going to go out, but Saturday, I'm not really going to go out. So drink beer on Friday. Don't drink beer on Saturday. Or if you know what, I'm going to watch the game on Saturday, then don't go to happy hour on Monday, like during work. Like, just be smarter about it. Like, who says you have to drink every other day? It's not good. It's not good for you. Like, dude, I love beer. John knows I was going to be one of the first fitness guys to get a beer sponsor. Like, I'm into it. I love dark beer. Guinness, Sam Adams, whatever. But it's just like, to me, it's like having a nice steak. Like, you have it when you recreationally, when it's around an event. You sitting on your couch on Tuesday by yourself, to me, is not an event.
Totally.
And so this is a fitness tip, but it's really like a life tip, meaning like strategize when you're going to basically drink alcohol if training is important to you. And a lot of people, what I like to say is, some people don't realize how it feels to feel good. And if you're drinking alcohol on a regular basis, you probably think you feel good, but you really don't. And so if you could just like strategize that a little bit more in your life, your performance will be better, you'll feel better, and you'll really enjoy when you do consume the alcohol.
I like that. And one thing I'd like to follow that up with is, I'm obviously in my 30s and single by choice, and I don't live a perfect lifestyle, but I will say this. There's this just general societal ethos that, like, what do you do when you're in your 20s and 30s, right? If you're not married, you go out and party. And I will say one of the main reasons, outside of my own habits, that I am not with somebody is because it's like, dude, that shit's tired. It's so tired to like go out and like just to go out. Like Cory said, if there's an occasion, man, be social, have fun. But Friday night is not an occasion. Saturday night is not an occasion. And this is going way off topic, but you want to know what's like we're lacking as a society that kind of links to alcohol is like, what about people who like read on Friday or Saturday? That's what I do. Like, why is that so rare?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's just the way it is. It's almost like it's Thursday, it's Friday, it's Saturday. Gotta go out.
Yeah, quit being a fucking moron. Like,
and just
seriously,
beat yourself
quit
up.
being a fucking dumbass and fucking better yourself. Do something that'll help yourself, as opposed to wasting your money, driving drunk, and making mistakes that make you feel self-pity in the morning. Quit being a dumbass.
Well, and a lot of people, like, I'm not preaching that I didn't go out multiple days a week when I was young. I did, but like, and the fact that I'm not just drinking one on Saturday if I'm having got people over my house. Like, I'm not drinking one beer. I might drink 6 or 7 beers. I go and have fun. Like, I'm not preaching because I'm like some angel. I'm just saying, like, if I look back, although I got in business at a pretty young age, so it made me have to strategize this, because I had clients on Thursday morning, Friday morning,
Right.
Saturday morning. So it's like, so I by default was like, okay, well, Saturday night's the night where I turn into a college kid.
Right.
And it just worked for me, so I carried it on, because yes, you do enjoy it, you want to release, and I actually like beer, so it's like one of those things where I enjoy that part of like kind of that lifestyle of trying to have some balance. But like I said, on Monday night, dudes are like, do you want to go out and grab a beer? No.
Oh, but Cory, what I think you do on a Saturday night is completely appropriate. I'm talking about the majority of the population.
Yeah.
They view those nights, and much more than Friday and Saturday night, as nights to go out, whether it be to a club or to a crowded bar. It's like, what comes out of that that's positive? You think you're going to meet your wife there?
No.
You think you're going to meet your husband there? I mean, listen, as a guy, you might get, you might do some work there. I'm not going to hate on that, but at the end of the day, it's like, why aren't we working on bettering ourselves? It shocks me.
Yeah, it's a lot of it. I mean, but that's kind of, especially with kind of that club EDM. I mean, it's like every night at the club, those big cities, they're slamming. Everybody's out to be seen and flossing the car. I mean, it's just,
and they got $400 in their checking account.
There's a lot of that. You saw it in Miami, didn't you?
Dude, you see it everywhere. It's like there's a real world and there's a fake world. And let me tell you something, guys. The real world ain't where some 23-year-old kid who's jacked up on steroids in a $20 suit coat is going to act like me or someone else that I know, or anybody for that matter, isn't cool enough to come sit in a booth and pay $750 or $1,000 for a bottle of vodka that costs $40, guys. That's not cool. That's idiotic. So if you think that's cool, stop listening to us.
I think that. So that fitness tip went real wild.
I'm just tired of idiots.
So John, we need to give them a solid takeaway. What do you got for business for our listeners today? Sure.
What I have for business is this. I was in a situation last night where I had a important client and another potential client, and I was in a networking situation. Last couple episodes ago, we talked about controlling yourself in networking situations, meaning, don't get drunk, don't get silly, don't get stupid. But beyond that, we need to talk about, in a networking situation, what is the true objective, and outside of humanizing the individual, there can be more business done in a networking outside of the office situation than there ever could be in a boardroom. People who we commonly refer to as DMs, right, decision makers, when they're out and about having fun, guess what, guys? They're still DMs. They're still decision makers. So if you're talking to them appropriately, having fun with them appropriately, and they like you, they can make a DM right on the spot. They can make a decision right on the spot. I actually experienced that yesterday. And I just think that a lot of people look at networking as something you do when you're a young buck. Young bucks don't network. Man, you got to earn the right to network. You have to have a name to network, or else it's like cold calling when you walk up to someone. Hey, I work for so-and-so. So two things. Number one, like, you got to build up your book of business before you go into serious events and network. But once you do that, there can be more revenue and partnerships game in a networking outside of the boardroom type arena than there ever could be in the boardroom. So I would focus on really upping your networking game if you have a decent book of business.
I would say I don't remember, besides the Arnold deal, a major deal I did that was actually just in the boardroom.
Right.
I think it was done almost every time. Every major investor, a lot of times with the major accounts from GNC to Vitamin Shop was done on a golf course or in a gym, or a lot of times it was not in the boardroom at all.
Right.
And I don't know if all the way I realized that even going into meeting with those people. But yeah, you're just like, well, it's about to happen right now.
Right.
So
for those of you guys who are trying to make deals happen, like, here's the one thing that I think people are much too tight on in business. Whether you run your own business or you're an account manager or whatever, money is artillery. And if you have the opportunity to take a DM out to dinner or out to a golf course, or even spend, which I've done, $5,000 on tickets to an event just to have 2 hours of his time, do it, because that's how you take yourself to the next level. Think about what you're saying, right? When you buy $5,000 worth of tickets, number one, you're saying, I can buy $5,000 worth of tickets, right?
Yeah.
He takes you seriously. Number two, right? Like, he's like, wow, that's really nice of him. That's cool. So he's going to give you his ear. And number three, if you're about it, if you believe in it, and if you have that purpose and that vision and you're driven, you're going to nail home that point, which is going to nail home that sale or that account. So let's not overlook investing in relationships outside the workplace.
Dude, I think it's part of the business strategy of getting a deal done by far. And if you don't think it is, then you're tripping.
Right.
There's a strategy to getting somebody's time.
Dude, and you're human. Like we talk about all the time. We talk about humanizing people. That's how you humanize them. People are not human when they are in their corporate office. They are corporate people. They are human when they're sitting on a bar stool or at a Cubs game or on the golf course, cracking a Bud Light with you. That's when they're human. That's when you can really make up some ground. So think about this if you're struggling making deals. Am I humanizing my targets enough? And if you're struggling, the answer is probably no. So I would take these tips and try to apply them.
So you got to, I got a quick good story on that. I was trying so hard to get into the inner workings of GNC years before I actually did and built that business. And I really thought that the top two guys at GNC needed to come to our office at Muscle Farm in Denver, but there was no way to get these huge executives there. They just don't do that. And plus we had we just couldn't get, any synergy with GNC at that time. Well, through the grapevine, I heard that the president of GNC at the time wanted tickets to the Denver-Pittsburgh game when Tim Tebow was the quarterback in Denver, right? And so I reached out to them. I went on StubHub and bought the tickets.
Exactly.
I didn't get them for free. It was an investment.
Right.
And I called him and said, "Hey." I kind of acted like I just had to hook up, whatever.
Of course, that's the deal.
I didn't say that. I wasn't lying. I just said, "Hey man, I got some extra tickets. I heard through the grapevine you want to come because Pittsburgh is where GNC's at, so they wanted to come to the game."
Sure.
And he goes, "I'd love to go." He's like, "Can you just send them to the Ritz for me?" I said, "No, you got to come get them." He said, "What do you mean I got to come get them?" I said, "If you want the tickets, you got to come to the office. You're going to fly into Denver. I know you guys fly private half the time. When you land, just take a car to the office because I think you need to see this." He said, "So you won't send them to the hotel?" I said, "No." He goes, "Okay, I guess I'll see you at your office." So guess what? They came to the office. They saw the science team. They saw the setup. They saw whatever. That didn't move the needle on the business yet. It took a lot more work that I had to do personally, but it was the start of it. But instead of going, Oh, well, I don't know anybody that can give me tickets. Oh, well, they're probably not going to come to the office. Buy them, make it happen. And he wanted them so bad, I essentially bullied him into coming to the office.
Right.
So there's certain strategies, and I got 10 extra minutes with him, a little bit more FaceTime. We eventually did 30 million, 40 million just with GNC before I left. And so but those are the strategy moves. I think I got that $2,000 back, John.
Yeah. People need to understand who they're sitting across the table from. And in business, I use this term a lot. There are kingmakers out there. A kingmaker is somebody who owns a GNC. Why is he a kingmaker? Because if he likes you, he can give you a little bit more shelf space than the next guy, and that can move your revenue from $5 million in GNC to $25 million in GNC. So it's you need to know when you have the opportunity. Most of us don't even get the opportunity, but when you get the opportunity to interact with a kingmaker, you spend that money. You do whatever it is you have to do to get a shot to make that guy or gal like you. Because if they like you, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
And dude, I think it was you that said this, or maybe it was somebody else. I can't remember. Is that you're in sales constantly?
Yeah.
Because you're selling yourself.
Every day you're selling.
Right? Every day.
When you went to ET today, what were you doing? You were selling you.
Selling myself. Absolutely was. And I was like, dude, put me in, coach. I'm here.
You want them to sell what you can do.
Absolutely. And I did. I think I sold it pretty good, John.
You did. What do me and you do on this podcast? We sell to our listeners that we deserve their ears. We deserve their time. We're selling right now. I mean, you sell constantly whether you know it or not. That's why I highly recommend you guys just read about sales strategies, because it's not about if you're in sales or not, man. It's how you interact with people.
I'm telling you. And even 2 or 3 occasions just in my little trip from here and back to Cleveland, asking people how their day was, introducing myself. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I do this. Oh, here's my Activ8 Media card. Oh yeah, I need to get that diet I heard you talking about.
How about that Activ8 Media card, dude? I gave it to 20 people this weekend. They're like, that card is dope.
That's the same thing I got, dude. Same thing I got. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things I stopped by the office and got a book for ET, grabbed the cards, gave them all out while I was up there. The funny thing is that I have not carried a business card, John, in probably a decade.
Really?
I was against them.
Really?
Yeah. I never told you that. So when you ordered business cards, I was like,
oh, that's hilarious, dude. Business cards are the best things ever.
I never wanted to give my number out.
Maybe it's because when I pay the bill with the hot ass waitress, I always put the card in there with the receipt.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
Look,
I think it's one of those things where I was always in defense later stages of Muscle Farm because everybody's always coming to get the money.
Yeah.
I never wanted anybody to have my number, John.
I know you changed it on me 4 times.
Yeah, I always sent you the new one, but it's one of those things. So as I'm giving it out today, I'm like,
shit. Wait, we don't owe you money. Yes.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where, but yeah, everybody was like, oh, this card is dope, blah, blah, blah. And so I stopped by, grabbed a book for ET, opened up the business cards, threw some in my wallet, gave out about 20 today. And it was one of those things where, I just really enjoyed, that interaction was a little new for me, John. It's been a while.
That's awesome. I love that.
It was classic. So look, I think this is going to be a great Monday for everybody.
Yeah.
Hopefully you started your day off with us on your way to work or at your workout.
Yeah.
John, you got anything to leave them with or what? It's Monday.
To leave them with, guys. It's Monday. Cory told you to wake your ass up earlier.
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys not to be a bunch of idiots. Wake your ass up. Don't be an idiot. Get ready for work. Here's how you get ready for work today, guys. Okay? It's we'll call it game 3 of the finals, and you're down 0-2. Are you going to get beat? Are you going to let that guy next to you beat you? Are you going to let anyone on that floor?
Yeah.
Are you going to let anyone you know beat you in any facet? When your boss walks by, is he or she going to talk to you, or is she going to go to someone else to get the scope of what's going on? Who's it going to be? It's up to you. It's up to you. And if it was me, it would be me, because I'll outwork anybody, and the Familia outworks everybody. Cory outworks everybody. That's what we do here. That's our style. If you don't like it, stop listening. But guess what? Our listeners keep going up. So you guys must like it, and it does work. So at the end of the day, it's Monday. We want you to grind out hard so you can enjoy your Friday. We are Activ8 Media. You just listen to Activ8 Radio, and have a hell of a week.